Hi there, Sandi here, and today we're going to play with the zig markers and this awesome border bundle from Mama Elephant. I used my MISTI stamping tool and the VersaMark ONYX black ink to stamp the images on watercolor paper. This ink is waterproof, so it's perfect for zig markers. I usually start by creating a legend of colors I'm going to use, a light and a dark in most cases of each color, and I'm using a yellow to highlight and as well as a pink from my pop color. And I cut off these legends when I'm finished, and I kind of save the color combos because I end up liking them and reusing them over and over again. I'm starting with the two teal colors, and the first technique is for darker images. I'm coloring the entire area with the light color, and then I'm going back with the darker one and highlighting. And if the ink is still wet, sometimes the color may blend in, so you may have to go back and add a little bit more of the highlight color. I like to work one leaf at a time and then go back to the previous and add the highlights, sometimes blending a little bit with the water brush just to get it the way I like it. For this next leaf, I'm going to show you the second lighter technique, where I only color partway up and then I pull the color with my water brush to the top before adding the highlight down in the bottom. And then as your leaves dry, you can go back and adjust the colors, adding a little bit more if you like. You know, watercolor always dries a little bit lighter than when it's wet. For these green leaves, I'm going to use the same technique. Flood most of the leaf with the light color, blending it with my water brush, and then going back and adding the darker green. This is a super easy way to add shadows on small images such as these. And I'm doing all of one color, working my way across my art piece, and that way I'm not running into anything that has previously been wet. I don't like watercoloring right up against something that's wet because the colors might bleed out and muddy what I'm working on. For these next leaves, I'm using the same greens, but I'm adding a yellow as a highlight color. I don't normally like yellow on my houseplants, but for art purposes, this adds a nice pop of color to my art piece. This time I'm adding all the colors at the same time and then going back and blending them together with my water brush. You don't want to blend too much, and clean your brush tip in between each color so that you're not pulling the dark green from the previous leaf into the bright yellow of the next leaf. It just gets muddy. On to the blues. I chose a light and dark steel blue that's almost a little purple, and again adding both colors and blending with the water brush. Starting with the light and blending back into the dark, or the dark will take over your leaf completely. Almost done. My pop of color is this pinky purple 082. I place a small dot of color near the stem on each of the leaves and then pull it out with my watercolor brush. The zig watercolor pens are highly pigmented, so you can pull them a long way before you lose all of the color. And I just love this color. It just really pops right off the paper. You want to color both of the pieces and let them fully dry before moving on to the next step, where we're going to die cut the pieces for our... The dies come attached with little metal bridges that you have to pull apart, and I ordered this flush cutter from Simon Says Stamps, and it works great, and the bright green handles are really easy to find in my toolbox. I'm holding the dies onto my art piece with post-it notes. You can also use purple tape, and that way they don't move around while I'm die cutting them. And you need to cut both for this card today. I attached them both to a piece of watercolor paper and then added my sentiment. It's from Hero Arts from the Stamp and Cut series, and I added a few embellishments around the sentiment just to pull it all together. The product list and a link to a blog for a free PDF for today's card are listed below in the comments under the video. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for visiting today, and until next time, toodles!